Hey, welcome to Vibe Live. My name is Brandy, founder of Entrepreneur Meal Plan, joined by
Cherie Jones of Thrive Time. What's going on? What's going on? I'm excited. This is our first Vibe Live, so I'm
it
excited
is.
about this.
It is our first Vibe Live. So usually, guys, we do these experiences behind like a closed space, but we thought it would be kind of fun to open up this conversation and just make it a little more public this time of year. We're feeling very like we want to be a little more visible. So we decided to come out and spread the vibe through all of the spheres of the social media realm. So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we're excited because we have a guest with us today. We're going to bring her up in a few minutes. My sister, Tiffany Dixon, who is a purpose coach. But before we do that, we really just want to kind of, for those of you who may be new to what the vibe is, some of you may know me, but you don't know Brandy. Some of you know Brandy, but you don't know me. So we'll just introduce ourselves. I am Cherie Jones, founder of Thrive Time, which is a movement that promotes self care and self awareness as a pathway to empowerment. So I do empowerment sessions, virtual retreats, lots of different things to help people to move from being in survival mode and shift to a thriving mindset. So, Brandy, you want to tell them about Entrepreneur Meal Plan?
Yeah, so my name's Brandy. I'm founder of Entrepreneur Meal Plan. Entrepreneur Meal Plan is a community for entrepreneurs looking for food for their mind, body, and business. As a plant-based chef, I always say what we do at Entrepreneur Meal Plan is help you to power your profit and productivities with plants. You can enjoy as fruits and veggies of your labor. So that is our spiel. We want to make sure that we're building the next generation of entrepreneurs that aren't just building healthy businesses, but are building healthy founders. So that is it in a
Yeah.
nutshell.
Yes. And so I'm just tagging people now so they can jump on in. Um, so we're gonna bring in my sister, our purpose coach, Tiffany Dixon. So I'm just gonna read a short bio about her, and I'm gonna tell you what I know about her, right? But what she wrote on her page, if you go to um TiffanyDixon.com. Tiffany is the founder and CEO of Tiffany Dixon LLC, and she provides spiritually based life coaching to clients, helping them to live their lives on purpose. She provides people with tools and steps that will help them discover, define, and embrace the life that God has planned for them so that you can begin or continue to truly live on purpose. And many people know Tiffany has on Saturday afternoon, Saturday at 12 noon, she hosts Coffee and Convo, which is a Facebook live broadcast. And in this format, she presents an inspirational word and engages her listeners into a discussion to really motivate them, right? To live on purpose, to thrive in their life. Tiffany is also my sister. I see her as my big sister. She really does help you get your life. Like, legit helps you get your life. She has a great eye of discernment. She's very intuitive. And if you have a conversation with her, I tell people all the time, proceed with caution, because if you look at that in her eye, she's gonna see something in you, and she's gonna tell you what she sees, and she's gonna inspire you to live your life on purpose for real, for real. And so we're gonna bring my sister friend Tiffany Dixon um up on screen so we can start this conversation about parenting with purpose.
I love it. I wish we had those horns like do 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 do. I feel like we need some of those.
I love I laugh every time I hear Cherie say that. Well, first of all, good evening, sisters, good evening, Brandy. Hey, Cherie, I laugh every time because it had gotten a moment when
I don't know what that
oh,
means.
this is interesting. When I said
If you
your
like,
name,
I can't search the web for.
my computer thought I was talking to it when I said your name. So that's what you heard conversation because I won't say your name again because my computer thought I was saying
It
something
happens all
else.
the time. All the
It happens all
time.
the time. That was good for me. However, I went to a conference, and the next time I went to the same conference, Brandy, I noticed I'm an eye person, and I realized I got that from my grandmother.
Mhm.
And my grandmother, I mean, she would look you right in your eyes, and I used to get kissed in my eye. That's what she said. So I'm just an eye person, and I noticed people weren't looking at me, and I'm like, I thought it was just me, and I think I passed the comment. Well, I got word that the word was going around, don't look her in the eye. Don't look her straight in the eye. Don't look her in the eye. Because she will tell you something like, oh, that's what we doing. That's what we doing.
Look her straight in the eye. I felt bad. I wasn't even trying to like make her uncomfortable. I'm like, because I would love to see Tiffany. Every time she would come visit us, coming from Georgia, she would come visit us up in New York. I'm like, I can't wait to see Tiffany, but I don't want to look at her in her eye because I don't want her to like tell me what the Lord then gave her to me because I'm not ready. So I'm like, yeah, so happy to see you.
It's funny. It's funny. But you know what? I've come to own it. You know what I mean? I come to own it. I was headed home today to get ready to be on with you all. I'm excited. First of all, I appreciate you all having me on this evening. Even my coffee and convo, my purpose pop people, they hadn't seen me for maybe a month now. Sometimes life gets in the way of living. And you got to stop and take care of things. That's even living on purpose, where you have to realize the things that need to be done. And so I just want to say hello to them. I'm going to do my best to share to the page in a minute. But Cherie, you all gave me, Brandy, you all said planting your purpose. Is that it? Planting
Yes.
purpose. I'm like, wow, 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 wow. And so I'm driving home, and I'm like, okay, Laura, what you want me to say? What you got? Because I just jump in the water and I just start swimming. I'm like, I know if I stop, I'm just gonna drown. And so I put it all on him. I said, I'm coming, you use me. So what do you have to say to the folk out in the world about planning their purpose? And the first thing I that came to me is you have to plant something first. Something you have to put something in the ground. You have to,
Yeah.
in order for something to grow, something must be planted, right? So here we go. When a farmer goes out, nothing's growing. We can pray all day. You can pray all day. If you see a barren land, you see empty ground, you can pray all day. But until you put something in the ground, nothing is going to happen. And so a lot of us, we get in these ruts, we get in these places in our lives, and we blame God on a whole lot of stuff that lies within us, because he said, I know who I created. And Brandy, Cherie, I wasn't supposed to say your name to my computer. Sis, I'm going to say sis, and all of you all. He said, I know what I created, and I created you fearfully and wonderfully. I put things in you, so I know what you're about. So why are you praying to me when I told you to go do something? Stop. Even I was looking, we were in study the other night, and I was reading Samuel. And Samuel, they said he was mourning over Saul. And the Lord had come to him and say, it's time for you to stop all that. And it's time for you to go. See, they don't want me to write the Bible. I'm originally from New Orleans, and the way I would write it, it would just be, I'm a straight with no chases sometimes. So I'm trying to be refined on your show today. But it pretty much, I said, hey, get over it and go. I have something for you to do. I've already prepared the way for you. I've already put something in you. He said, I designed you with purpose. I called you for a purpose. So stop talking to me and go do it. And so you got to you say, yeah, Tiffany, you say that, but it's not that easy. I don't even know what my purpose is. And what is purpose? Purpose, period. That's for sure. Purpose, period. It is the reason for which something is done or created for, right? Or why something exists. And most times when you realize, and I know I'm there, y'all. I'm just jumping in, so double dutch with me, okay? If y'all want to jump in here, it's
I'll jump in.
yeah. So it's like, find yourself when you have something that you can't let go of. Brandy, she and I were talking. We just met, and Cherie, before before you came on. In a nutshell, she gave me kind of what she did. And these two different things, how did she make them come together? Or was it her that made them come together? Or because she found her passion, she found her purpose, and because she put this seed in the ground, the Lord said, I'm going to come and I'm going to water it, I'm going to make it grow. It only happened that she found, because I'm like, when she said what she did, I'm like, those are two unique things. However, you made them work, right? They're working. They're working. Why? Because you've taken the time, and this is where a lot of people are. It's time for us to stop and really say, what is it that I'm made of? What is it that keeps pulling at me? What is it that I feel that I just can't let go of when I start thinking about it? And stop allowing yourself, just because you see someone else doing something, you think, oh, maybe I need to do that. Or you see that being done, I think I could be good at that. No, there's a pulling in you. There's a pulling in you. And it's time now we have to stop. And if the pandemic didn't help you do that, if the pandemic did not help you get to the point where you stopped and you realize, what is it that I'm really, really good at? Some people call it a calling. You know what I mean? Somebody call it a passion. Somebody, you know, whatever, my walk, whatever that is, it's time now to figure out what is it. Because see, we can live all our lives and at the end, you just chased after the wind because you don't feel fulfilled, because you hadn't slowed down enough and allowed yourself the opportunity to embrace yourself, understand
Tiffany,
yourself. Yeah.
What I wanted to ask though, or say is, I feel like a lot of times people are afraid to pursue their passion or what they believe to be their purpose, right? And for me, a lot of times what happens is we have to be practical. We want to make the safe choice, right? Bills gotta be paid, all those things. I'm starting to hear now. And you know, people feel like, well, what I want to do sounds kind of out of the box, and they don't ever, you know, they let logic or the rational thing talk them out of really taking that leap. Just put that out there. What do you say to those people?
What I say to people that at first okay, we are getting a little first I would and say, that's where you went wrong when you started thinking. that's my joking part. See, you went wrong when you started thinking. And because you know, nothing, if we try, see, first of all, I think the first step is when you develop this relationship, not only with yourself, because one, let me put this out there. I believe that anyone who's truly going to live on purpose is first starts with establishing a relationship with Jesus Christ. That's just who I am. People question me like, why do you say that? You know, everyone doesn't believe in God or whatever. I'm going to say you have to have that faith base as your foundation. Let's say that, because in that, that's where you build the confidence in who you are, right? And then from there is like, okay, I just need to, it takes a faith walk. There's no right answer to that. I don't necessarily, you have to believe and know that you know and operate in faith. Am I making sense to you, Cherie? That what I know to be true. Okay, that's just like this, the chair you're sitting in. Just because someone built it and said it's a chair, you trusted it to sit in it. you didn't think, oh, is it going to hold me? Is it, you know, my size versus the size of this chair? Is it big enough for me? Is it the way enough for me? You trusted it because someone told. Okay, so if you've been told that you have what it takes to do what it is that you need to do, why are you second guessing yourself? Trust and operate in the faith. And that it requires that. Now the practical things is, yeah, you write down some goals, some plans, you make steps, and you take the short term and the long term. We can talk about those things, but if you don't have a surety in who you are, I could talk to you all day about goals. I can talk to you all day, but if you're not sure of who you are, none of it's going to work. I'm gonna stop there because we could keep going.
No, I just put it out there because I just, I know for myself, there have been times where, I had literally just recently, I had to have an honest conversation with myself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
About what it is I want to do. Because, now that the pandemic is over, now that my children are older, I'm like, okay, I need to consider going back out into the workforce, right?
Uh-huh.
But
Uh-huh.
when I did all the normal things, I updated my resume, I updated my LinkedIn, did all these things, went on Indeed. And then as these job postings started coming in, I was like, but I don't do any of these things, right?
You
And I
didn't
thought
want to
about it, didn't
go
want to
ahead.
do, none of them interested me, right? And I realized that there are a lot of things that I can do, that
Right.
I'm able to do. I could do it, but do
Right.
I want to? And I think that is a part of really when you discover what your purpose is, because there's a lot of things you can do,
That's
right?
right.
But do I
That's right.
want to do that? And so then I had to be honest with myself. And even in my prayers and talking about faith, I had to be honest first with myself, but then in my prayers and say, well, God, what I really want to do is I enjoy doing Thrive Time, but I need Thrive Time to be more lucrative. I want to
Right.
do it for, in corporate settings. That's what I really want to do. And that sounds, maybe that's so big, but I'm like, there's nothing
No.
impossible for God, right? And so, but I had to be honest with myself and then say it and pray about it. And now there are opportunities like that are coming my way. And so I think we can't be afraid. Sometimes I think we get afraid of our big dream. Like
I went to
we may dream big, but then we afraid to pursue the dream, right?
I never forget. I went, when Oprah did that big tour when she was doing the Weight Watchers tour, and I just had to be there, and I got there, and she said something to that effect, that a lot of times we hinder ourselves because we get afraid of the big dream. We are afraid how big we can become when we see ourselves in that arena. Now, you see yourself there. You see yourself in this corporate setting, walking in Google, you know what I mean, or walking in whatever Amazon. But then you get afraid because you actually see yourself in that arena. And it's so but I believe if you have the capacity to see yourself in it, you have the capacity to fulfill it. And so what is it that will take to make you, so that's where you got to diffuse doubt. And a lot of times I think it comes from because we look outside ourselves for people to validate what our purpose is. We look for check marks from family, friends, children, instead of going on, I have this dream. I have this vision. I know I'm capable of doing it. So, guess what? I'm going to put the effort, I'm going to put the work behind it, and I'm going to fulfill it because we are built to have purpose. And so many people want to feel fulfilled. They go ahead and put themselves on LinkedIn and they get their resume and they get all these things that go, but that's not what I want to do. The race is not given to the swift, but it's given to the one that does what? Endure. But you only endure when you walk in your purpose and the calling and what you're supposed to do, because everything else is going to fail because this is not what you were built to do. Ah.
Mm.
Randy,
I don't know. For me, I'm really just hearing this whole idea of like self, like trust, like because I always feel like faith has a lot to do with
yeah,
just trusting in yourself, right? And
yeah,
also trusting like our feelings, like you talked about, like I always think about like the gut, like your intuition, like when you're in alignment with that, like
uh-huh,
you know how you're supposed to move forward. Like I've personally been doing this exercise and like vulnerability, and for me, that's like really feeling. Not just like you say, you can do things, you can plow through things. Like I think we've gotten to the point where we just kind of learn how to just like get stuff done. But like
Right,
what
right.
does life feel like when you're getting stuff done and yet actually being present about how you feel about it? Like actually being there helps us to, I think, connect with our purpose, so to say,
That's
because
right.
you if when it feels right, that's it. Like I don't know, like and that's the like that's one of the things for me that's been really really big lately. Does it bring me joy? How does it feel? If
Come
it
on.
doesn't feel good, then you have to ask yourself, so why am I doing it, right? And if you're doing it because you have to do it, because we're adults, we got bills, we got stuff we got to do,
Right.
right? Then we have to ask ourselves, how do we create an exit strategy to get away from it so that we can have more of those moments that feel good? So
Mhm,
that's
mhm.
kind of what's been coming up, like listening to this right now.
Well, and you're so right about that. You know that there's two things that you said, because sometimes, let's go with the last part that you said. Sometimes you're put in positions like, I see myself much bigger than the job that I'm holding right now. You know what I mean? But like you said, yeah, we got to be mindful. I got bills to pay, so I say, you know what, Lord, let me bloom where I am. Let me expand and be all that I can be here. And I believe that what you're using me for here, because there's no experiences wasted in God. And if he called you for a purpose, there's nothing that's wasted in him. So let me learn and expand, because guess what? It's developing Brandy. It's developing Tiffany. I'm learning what I don't like. I'm learning what I do like. So when I get to where he's called me to be, guess what? I weeded out all that stuff, and I know who I am, and I can go on in his purpose. Let's go to the other side of that. Yeah, when you really sit and you start looking at yourself, you got to say, what lights a fire in me? What is it? See, I'm looking for this place. I'm looking for this Lord, what lights a fire in me? Ask yourself that question. For all of you that's listening, for all of us that feel these empty spaces up, what is triggering you? What is it that interests you, that you find that you could do all day? This is the practical. This is the practical. Cherie, you said I could show people. I would love to show people how to thrive, whatever that looks like for you. And so guess what? I began, and when I think too, I know too, when you begin to think that way, things start to, everything you do and everything you see begin to feed into exactly, and you start saying, oh my God, I didn't even know I could think like that. Oh my God, because guess what? Wherever you plant the seed, guess what? He said, I'm gonna come and help. It has to grow, but you planted the seed. You planted the seed. And so you find out, what is it that I can do all day? So also, what can you do that doesn't take a lot of effort? For somebody else to go, oh my God, how did you do that, Brandy? And you looking like, in your mind, girl, I just threw some broccoli in with some mushrooms. I'm just using that as an example, because you find that it didn't even take you much, but to the world, and look, that's when you know you on the right track. Because God will take, see, he will take what he's showing you in the spirit and make it manifest in the natural. So he takes those natural abilities, those natural strengths that you have, the special talents that you have to develop you in your purpose. What's unique about you? What's different about you? You know what I mean? What makes you stand out other than from someone else? Yeah, there are a lot of coaches out there. You imagine how I feel that I went into wanting to be, or desiring to be a life coach, and everywhere you look, there's a life coach. But I had to be confident in what I was told to do, the platform that I use. I have to be confident in that. Y'all know Valerie Burton is the cream. I love her, and she's doing excellent, and I follow her, but I'm not her. You know what I mean? But I can learn from her. And so we have to be comfortable in who we are and not compare. So that's the biggest threat. When you get into that spirit of comparison, and it will kill you every single time. He said you are uniquely made. It didn't say that it was a unique calling and gift for you, but the same thing, we can do the same thing, but because he gifted you in one way and gifted me in another, it comes out totally different. And so people get caught up with, oh, they're doing that already, but it's not you. Imagine if every author looked at another author and didn't write their book. It's a thousand. Come on,
Yeah, and I
Cherie.
always like to think about think about burger spots. Every time this conversation comes up, I'm like, there's a
Yes,
McDonald's, Burger King, there's a Five Guys, there's a Shake Shack, there's a Whataburger, there's so
that's
many.
right.
They all sell burgers and fries, but it is the people who are making the burgers and
That's
fries that
right.
make a difference.
That's
And if
right.
the marketplace can hold all of those, they can
That's
hold
right.
all of us.
That's right. And I said this, and your purpose is really never meant for you. You know that, right? Your purpose is always meant to help other people. Your purpose, when you walk in your purpose, it is meant to expand. It is meant to. So when that seed is planted, do you just get one apple? Or do you get plenty apples with more seeds? Come on now. And so it is meant to expand. It is meant so you take all these things and these life experiences and you use them for your purpose, and it's meant, come on. What's in your heart? What are you dreaming about? What do you desire to do? It's time out. I sat last night, Cherie, and I finally put on paper. I said, Tiffany, you got to stop talking about it. You got to be about it. And I made all these different appointments with people to help take me to the next level that I wanted to be. I can't look at it as being conceited. I can't look at it as, oh, you want to be that. No, 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 no. It's time to stop talking about it and you got to do something about it. And sometimes it means you got to connect with people. You and Brandy have connected to take both your platforms to another level. And so take the time now, all y'all listening, this is your homework. You just will ask several questions. What are you passionate about? What lights a fire in you? Right? What can you do that requires very little effort? And so on, and those who are going to listen to this again. But remember this, a plant cannot grow unless the seed is planted. It can't grow. You have to start doing something. You can't just sit and continue to talk about it. And so in getting ready for this, I made several phone calls. I got another call after this, Cherie. I got a call because Tiffany, if God is calling you to do it, and guess what? Don't get upset when you see somebody doing something similar to what you set on, because you chose to procrastinate. Because the young lady at work today, she was like, "Oh my God, she's a new employee, so I kind of stayed a little longer to meet her just to kind of get to know her. And she's 25. And she said she had a dream in her heart since she was in high school. And how she started crying when she saw Jada Pinkett with the red table talk, because she had something similar, and she was like, oh my God, did I tell someone who knew her that she took you know what I mean? Because and I said, so what are you waiting on? She said, because I'm still doing things that I know I shouldn't be doing, that's not allowing me to do what I need to do. I said, okay, that was you articulate. So what are you going to do about it tonight? What are you going to do about it? And she just stood there and looked at me. It's simple word. Stop. Stop doing what it is that you're doing and go do what it is. Just because Jada is on with her red table talk doesn't mean that you don't have a table talk. That was her platform. So that means you just have to stop. I put that as a quote the other day. I voted. And I said, there are a lot of great things. Big things are simple. And sometimes it starts with just one word. And that's not my quote. That's William Churchill. Somebody, who's Churchill? What's his name? First name, Churchill. And he said, but sometimes it starts with one word. And what'd you say, Brett?
Winston Churchill.
Winston, thank you. And so he said justice, hope, mercy, and I put vote. So sometimes it starts with one powerful word: stop and go. Stop or start and do. You know what I mean? Stop and go. Come on now. And so it's time out. Y'all get tired of. Go ahead, Cherie. I see you with a question.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, I really do believe that a lot of times, speaking to what you said with this young lady at your job, if God gives you something, an inspiration to do something, and you don't do it, do you think it's gonna die with you?
Come on, Sam.
God gonna give it to somebody else, right?
That's
But
right.
then when you also talk about planting seeds, when farmers plant seeds, they don't just plant one, right? They plant a multitude of seeds to guarantee they'll have a bountiful crop. So
Right.
just because God dropped something in your spirit, it might not have just been dropped in yours. Because
Right.
this how humans are. Everybody not gonna act on it
Right.
and may
Right.
not act on it at the same time, right? So
That's
of,
right.
of the 5 people that might have had the same inspiration, only one of them might do it right now, right? But
Right.
even if everybody does it right now, you may not do it in the same arenas, in the same venues. And so I think that's part of what we have to think is that, like, so this young lady is discouraged. It's like, you had this idea almost 10 years ago and you think it was supposed to die with you. No, now you
Right.
see it on the bigger stage, but
That's
that
right.
should tell you maybe I should still do it.
That's right. And that's what I encouraged. And I said, girl, I gotta go. I gotta get on a call. I gotta get on a live tonight because I found myself going into this coaching. I said, I have to go. Let me jump. And I'm done. We jumping, but I have to do it as I'm thinking about it. Two different things. And there's a scripture, and I'm gonna find it before we get off here. When it talks about this whole, and I think it's in Mark, but when this sowing thing, and they talk about when do you plant a seed and you go every day and pull it up to see what's happening with it? It dies. So some people, you got to be patient. That means some of you are expecting overnight results, but you have to put some time in. You have to work this thing. Don't get discouraged because what you know that your purpose to do, but because it's not flourishing right now, that it won't flourish. The scripture said it's going to die. It's going to die. You can't go every day and pluck it up expecting to see something. It will die. And so then there's the other scripture that talks about first there's a blade. That scripture somewhere in Mark. It talks about first you're going to see the blade, right? They talk about corn. It's talking about corn. Then you're going to see the ear, right? Then you see the full corn come up. So that means that there is a process that you have to go through in order for this purpose. When the purpose is planted, there is a process. Allow yourself to go through the process. So don't go digging up. Don't go doubting yourself. Don't go crying, woe, it's me. Just keep going. Keep going. Write your vision, make it plain upon the tablet. So when they run, what they say, they may see it. You got to run too. See, come on. Cherie, you should have warned me. And you should have warned them. Somebody should have been warned tonight.
Yeah, and I love when you're talking, because with planting, of course, is one of my big things. You're talking about like planting. Another thing I think we want to also remember, like, just like when you're planting things,
yeah,
it doesn't always work out the first time, right? Like, you can put something into the ground, you can put something into the ground, you can give it water, you can give it light. Then you realize, oh my goodness, like this thing needs less water, or this thing needs less light. You can do everything right and it doesn't necessarily work out. But guess what? The roots are always there, so you can always kind of start over. So if you actually, like you say, plant that seed, get the roots into the soil, just like with an idea, just as the same with like actual like planting food. Like that's something that we have to understand. And it takes time. You can plant a crop. There's some crops that will take a whole year before you even see any type of seed. But the beauty, like Cherie was saying, number one, you plant multiple seeds. But once you figure out the recipe, once you figure out, I guess, the process, that thing continues to generate over time. And generally more than you can have yourself. Like we've talked about this before, right? Like People plant things, and every time somebody's growing something, they always try to find somebody to give it away to. Because this is like, I can't eat all this food that's coming, right?
You jumped right in it, because what I said, your purpose is usually not just for you, right? So when you're walking in your purpose, when that harvest comes, it's distributed, because you can't handle it. It's not meant for you to handle it. It's not meant for you to keep it. It's meant for you to give it out. You said a lot of stuff, because most things grow down first before it comes up. And so you have to allow it to grab root. You have to allow yourself. And that's where I talk about spending time with God, spending time with yourself, that you can be rooted and grounded. That every win, every unexpected blow, every no comes, that it doesn't break you, because you are rooted and you are grounded. And so that's where that part begins. And see, with this another thing, because of that rush, and see, you can't cheat seed time and harvest time. You can't cheat it. You can, so I don't care what you do, you cannot bypass the purpose. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to say it. You understand what I'm saying?
You're trying to say, like, you can't fast track it. Like, we're so busy trying to go through the drive-through. We used to everything being instant, right? We like drive-through food. We want an instant, microwave.
Right.
We want everything
Right.
fast, but you can't fast track this process. Some things take time. The best things, like food at McDonald's is all right, but when you want a good meal, you're not going through the drive-through.
That's right.
The best food takes time to cook, because those flavors take time, and Brandy know better than me, right? Those flavors take time to develop and to kind of come to the surface. So we're trying to fast track everything. Some things might come suddenly, but some things definitely, I agree with you, they take time.
It take time. And so you cannot cheat the seed time and the harvest time. And just because you see someone else doing something, that's just like you see the farmer sees another one, his crops are growing, so he hurry up and go try to put a seed in the ground. And when you should have been doing that, you understand? So you can't cheat the process, because now I see, I'm just using you as an example. Sharika has her book, so now I'm gonna hurry up and go type a book. She spent some time. She took some time. She did some editing. She did some throwing away. She did some crying. She did some praying. So what makes you think that you're going to bypass this process? It's not going to happen. You cannot cheat seed time and harvest time. And it's going to show. You know when somebody pulls something up and it's not right. You know when I'm talking to Brandon like I really know, but we know when we get something when it's not done. Because you took this out the oven. Scott was trying to cook some chicken the other night, and I said, "You took this out already? This ain't cooked." You know when something is not done, it's not good, it's not authentic. It doesn't settle in your spirit well. It doesn't taste well. Whatever words you want to use, you cannot cheat. You can cheat other systems, but you can't cheat. See, when the purpose of God for your life, you can't do it. And He's requiring us to slow down. It is time to slow down, because again, I don't know how much I can stress. We all are created for a purpose. Period. You can spend your life doing all this stuff, but if you don't get to the purpose, you're going to be questioned about it. You were created to do something. You were created to build the kingdom. And so it is time for you to be about your Father's business. And how you're about your Father's business is by walking in your purpose. I don't know how else to stress that. And so you got to please take the time. Ask God to help you discover what's unique about you. And you be amazed, because yes, a lot of us, for mothers, we get caught up in our children. For people at work, we get caught up in our jobs, and it's okay. And you find a lot of people get to a certain point in their life and they go, I don't know what I'm here for. I don't know I gave all my energy to my children. You know what I mean? I thought my purpose was in my kids, raising my children. I thought my purpose was in helping my parents, whatever that is. But no, you still have something that you are required to do outside of that. Yes, God honors that. But so I want you to say, okay, what's unique about me? Go ahead and do that. What is unique about me? I'm helping someone that's sitting here maybe dealing with the fact that I still don't know, or I'm at this crossroad in my life where I'm an empty nester now. I don't know. You know what I mean? And so I'm trying to find Tiffany. I'm trying to find me. So sit down and you really, really, really go into that meditation part where you ask, or go to a Thrive session, or sit in somewhere to say, what is truly unique about me? Right? Examine it, examine yourself deeply, and really be. I'm learning so much about Tiffany that my family even said, you interesting, because I'm owning up to who I am. I'm loving who I am. I'm goofy. I may be corny, you know what I mean? But guess what? It's me. It's who I am. My birthday, I wanted to do one thing, and it was to go to a Buc-ee's. It's a gas station. It's really a gas station on steroids. But that was what I wanted to do. And I'm enjoying finding out what I want to do instead of what I think people want me to do. You know what I mean? Or what people want to do, not just what I think people want me to do, what other people want to do. I'm learning Tiffany, right? Write a purpose statement. Write it. Write. Describe what you think your God-given purpose might be until you write it. Go ahead and write it. And it may just be all over the place, but write it. Get it out. Then you start sitting down and researching, like you said, Cherie. When I realized that I wanted to do this corporate thing, and I realized I wanted to do this, you had to start doing some research. Then you start realizing, oh, I know a person that know this person, I know this person. Because see, you walking into purpose. See, God said, you just go, just like he told Samuel, it's time for you to go, and I've already prepared the way. I've already prepared the way. You plant. Come on, y'all could stop me anytime. Y'all
Yeah.
could.
No, I wanted to say, I'm loving everything you're saying, and you're right. Part of it, once I was honest with myself, and part of that honest conversation was because all the barriers or the what ifs kind of can get in the way of you being
Yeah.
honest with yourself,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so what got me to the place of really being honest about what I wanted, I said, in a perfect world, if there were no limits, right? If I didn't have to worry about childcare or this or that or bills, what is it that I want to do? And if I had a magic wand and I had one wish, what would it look? What would that be? And it gave me the freedom to dream outside of the parameters of what I'm used to, right?
Yeah.
But then the other thing, I think, Tiffany, some people struggle with their purpose, and you said it's like because we've been living our life um for other people's expectations, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you think about, there are people who go to college and they study law, they study medicine. Why? Because that's what their parents did, or that's what my parents always wanted me to do, or and so it takes time for people to kind of disentangle what their desires are from what their parents or their family or whomever else desires for them, because a lot of times we're trying to meet other people's expectations and we never fully identify what expectations do I have for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That it's like it's a lot. I think we have a lot of people who go to college. I went to school to study law because when I was growing up, I talked a lot. And everybody was like, you need to be a lawyer because you talk so much. And I'm like, okay, I'll study law. And that's what I did, right? I did law programs all throughout high school. I interned at law firms throughout college. And then at midway through college, I'm like, but after working at these law firms, I was like,
This
I don't
ain't
want to
it.
do this. This is boring. This is not giving me any energy at all. And so I
Yes.
had to and part of finding your purpose, sometimes you just don't know, right? And maybe it requires you to just try something different and
Yeah.
see what sparks for you. Because a lot of times we're just on this path of just doing what is expected and just following the normal. Okay, you go to college for 4 years, you study what's the trending work that's out right now. I'm just going to do that because I'm going to make a good salary, and it's fine. But if that doesn't give you life, at some point you feel like all I've done is exist and I never
That's
lived.
I love that. I never lived. And the same happened with me. My family made me think I was a great writer. I would write poems, and get to my grandmother. And so I went to college thinking I was going to be an English major. I did. I declared as an English major. And when the head of the English department found out I was an English major, I couldn't get a paper the first round draft without over C. I mean, she would chop me up. So I called her. I said, "Why y'all made me think I was a good writer?" You know what I mean? Because I mean, she really, and I realized I was driving myself crazy because again, I was doing it based on not because people told me I needed to be a writer, because I saw me writing these poems made other people happy. And so I thought, oh, I need to be a writer. It didn't make me happy. You know what I mean? I like you. I felt, and so one day I was like, I'm a talker. I love entertaining, and found out the college had a hospitality department, and went into hotel management, the whole hospitality thing. And when I tell you, it's like my whole world opened up because I found what fed into who I was. And so I know we're almost running out of time. And so to jump into to get people, so whether you're at the place where you're working to find out your purpose, you're preparing to fulfill this purpose, you're at the point that you say, I'm being intentional, I'm taking action, I'm ready to do this. I would tell you the number one thing you have to do is trust God and believe in yourself. That's number one. You have to, no matter what anyone else thinks, you have to have the confidence in knowing that I was called for a purpose and He is going to help me to fulfill it. You have to trust God and you have to believe in yourself, period. And so if you start that, and then what you got to do, some change is about to happen. See, the seed been planted now, right? The seed has been planted. So now I'm watching for something to happen. I'm looking for some transformation to happen. And so I'm sitting and I'm expecting something to happen in my life. And so that's when you sit in that place and say, Lord, I'm ready for you to change me. I'm ready for you to grow me up. I'm ready for you to bring me into this purpose. I'm ready for you to change some areas in my life. I'm ready for you to grow me and to expand me. I'm ready for you to develop me. You got to seek it. And see, the more you trust Him, you believe in yourself, and you begin to seek it. He said, didn't He say, if you seek it, you're going to what? You're going to find it. You're going to find it. And so you have to seek. That's putting in the work. That's putting in the work that you have to seek it. Then let me tell you this. Now you just can't be seeking and when you don't see it happen and you got to stay focused. Come on, everybody say, I got to stay focused. I got to stay focused on the vision. I have to stay focused. I can't worry about, I got to stay focused on the inside and on the outside. Just because you don't see the transformation happening overnight, just because you don't see the blade coming up, just because you don't see the door opening, I still got to stay focused. Remember, I'm moving towards my plan. I'm moving towards my purpose. And no matter what the external looks like, what the influences on the outside look like, I'm staying focused. Come on now. But don't just stay focused. See, at this point, you got to make some choices. You got to stop making some of the choices you've been making. You got to make choices that fit the purpose. Come on, somebody said, I got to start making choices that fit the purpose. That means some people got to let go. I told a young lady today, she said, I don't have a problem with consistency. I said, well, what's the problem? It's the problem is that when I let other people come in, I tend to stop. I said, well, that means you need to stop letting them people in. See, you got to make choices that fit the purpose. You got to, so it's not, so I see, it all requires you to do something. Huh? Come on. Then don't make things, Jesus wasn't deep. Y'all realize that? He made things as simple could be. When he talked to the woman at the well, he spoke water. When he talked to fishermen, he spoke fisherman terms. Jesus wasn't deep. We don't have to make our purpose and our calling so deep that you get confused. So I need you to make things clear. I need you to make them simple. I need you to make steps that make sense. Don't think because you put it on paper, God is not looking for this aha wow moment. He's simple, y'all. And we make God so deep that we make him think that he's untouchable and he's unreachable. No, make it simple. Make it so when you're making these choices that fit, keep it simple and things that you are equipped to do. Come on. Am I making sense, y'all? I got a few more minutes.
You are making so much sense. I love it. It's like, it's not that deep. I think we complicate things, right? Because, and part of that is that comparison, because you're looking at what other people are doing, or you feel like, well, I got to do all these things, and you got to just keep it simple. Because you make it complicated. You try, it's just like, and I've talked to Brandy about this, wanting to do more plant-based eating, right? But for me, I'm like, with recipes, I'm like, can you give me like a 5-ingredient recipe?
Right.
Because for me, like starting now, I can't, like, don't give me a list of 10, 12 ingredients. Right. It's like that. Now I'm discouraged because it's too complicated, right? So if you want to start this thing, you want to live in purpose, keep it simple. It's simple. That they say it's like KISS method, right? Keep it simple, stupid, or keep it sweet and simple, whichever way you want to say it.
Right. See, I'm so out there. I would like to stupid. Let me stop. But I like the stupid one. But anyway, I'm just, because what was the first thing that we said? We say you got to trust and have confidence in yourself, right? So if you make things so complicated, aren't you losing confidence in you? See, that's what it all kind of builds upon itself. So you have to make things to the point that you can do it, because you have to, sometimes you're going to have to encourage yourself. and then you got to be flexible. Just like Brandy said, sometimes some seeds won't grow. You got to be willing to be flexible and change courses when it's due. When she said, "Oh, this I put too much water this time. You know what? I need to use that." So sometimes you got to be flexible and change course when things just don't feel right, when they're not right. When you know what I mean, when you realize that you having these self-doubts and you having fears, you sometimes say, "God, help me, show me where I got to rework this plan, where I got to change some things up to walk into my purpose." And so we could go on all night. I love this. I'm hot. I don't even know why I wore a sweatshirt, because I done got so excited. Because don't you know the joy you feel? It took me to become 40 years old, and I'm 52 now, to finally start knowing who Tiffany was. And and I can't even say at that point I was the unapologetic Tiffany. You know what I mean? I was just beginning to own me and appreciate me for who I was. And to now be at this age wearing braids. I never wore braids before. I'm enjoying it. You know what I mean? I'm looking at me, and I'm like, Lord, whatever you have for me, I'm here. I'm owning who I am, and I want you to make it. And so it is a joy when I see people walking in who they are. And Cherie, you said something about your children. I never forget my insurance agent. When I went to see her, this was years ago, and Lord help her, she was diagnosed with cancer at the time, and her daughter was 14, and we were having a conversation. And she said, the one thing that I wish I hadn't done, I said, what? She said, in the time that I have left, that I didn't try to force my child into being something I wanted her to be, but allowing God to help me to support her in who he called her to be. And so even as young kids, have them to start asking the question, not what do I want to be when I grow up? What does God want you to be when you grow up? Because see, then you leading them to trust him, right? And then to have confidence in themselves, to lean to, because he said, I called them for a purpose. So it's beautiful. And I see you doing it. I see you doing it, that you allowed them to be who they were. Grant in his Zen moment, you know what I mean? You allowing him to sit. That was so cool to me, for him to sit there at that age and wanted his yoga moment. Who does that? And what parent does say, boy, get up and go to your room and do what you got to do, that you allowed him that moment just to do that. That was beautiful to me. That's embracing who he is, not who you want him to be. Come on, somebody.
But Tiffany, I think, you're touching on something though, because part of that is me being okay with being the type of parent that I am, right? And not trying to be the parent my mother was to me, or really like my grandmother. I've tried to parent my children the way my grandmother parented all of us, right?
Yes.
And I can't do it. Like it doesn't work for me. It worked for her and it was effective. And I don't have anything against how she did it. But when I try to recreate some of that, it doesn't work because it's not organic to how I am, right? Some things I have been able to apply, but not everything. And I think that's important. But Tiffany, I wanted I wanted you to talk about just briefly, because in talking about embracing our purpose or living into our purpose, I think it's evolving, right? So it can evolve over time. Like Michelle Obama talks about becoming, right? We're always becoming. And I just think about like with you, Tiffany, when you have your coffee and convo. If y'all follow Tiffany Dixon Purpose Coach on Facebook and on Instagram, on Saturdays at noon, she does coffee and convo, right? I'm not sure why I'm getting a echo. But you didn't start out doing coffee and convo. I remember you said, you felt inspired, like you felt motivated to start doing, like you said, I'm just going to do once a week, a little 10-minute talk. That's it. And part of it, I could hear, it was like when you were sharing that with us, there was a little bit of apprehension, but you felt like I have to launch out and do it. And he was like, I'm not going to do anything long. I'm only going to talk for 10 minutes. And I think your first one wasn't even 10 minutes. I think it was like 20 or 30. Like you couldn't, because I'm like, how's she going to talk for 10 minutes? I've talked to Tiffany. No conversation with Tiffany is 10 minutes, right? But seeing that you took the step, right? It was a baby step. And you probably at that time, I believe you felt like God was calling you to do something bigger than that. But you was like, all right, I'm just going to at least test the waters, put my toe in the water. And you said, I'll just do a 10-minute thing. And I think it was on a Thursday. I don't think it was on a Saturday originally, right? It was a Thursday. And now seeing that where it's gone, right? And you've gone now, you do the coffee and convo, which is an hour-long conversation, but you're now a purpose coach and all that. So it took for you to lean into where you felt your passions taking you. You started it. And then once you started, it blossomed into something larger and you became more confident to do something larger. And I think that's for everyone. Anyone who is watching and you're still trying to figure out, how do you know what you're called to do or you don't, but you feel like pulled in a direction, your passion is leading you somewhere that's uncharted territory. You have to at least take the risk to put your foot out in the water. And Brandy said it earlier, you have to risk vulnerability.
That's right.
Right, because part of it is the fear of public criticism or public opinion and all of that. But if you constantly are living your life in fear of what people say, you'll just stay in a little box. You'll never, step out of that box. And so it really does, in terms of living in purpose, it requires you to be okay, maybe looking crazy to some people. Like, what's she doing?
It
She
will
got her own talk show on Facebook. What's she doing? But that's what I'm doing, and it's my business, and I love it. And so there's some people who love it too.
That's right. And it will take that. Am I perfect at it? No. Am I nervous? I look at it like this. I always say, okay, Lord, I'm about to jump in this water and I'm gonna just start swimming. And you're right. How when you were little, you had that, they used to dare you. They like put a stick, or they'll say, I dare you to do. And that's what I do to people. I dare you. I dare you to try what it is that the Lord has in you. I dare you to do it. And you go ahead and you try it. And then I say, well, I'm a double D dare you to go ahead and take the next step. Dare yourself to do what it is that you thinking to do. And yes, it start with 10 minutes. And see, that goes into that trusting. That goes to trusting. Me by myself, I would not be on here with you two. I would not be doing this right now. But because I trust who he is, and I'm going to stand in that, which gives me the confidence, I'm just going to jump out there and do it. I'm gonna, and yes, I used to be in my hallway on a Thursday, and here I am. I'm like, you know what? Again, learning Tiffany. I love high noon. I love high tea, and so like you, Brandy, I go, you know what? Let me try noon, because that is my favorite time of day, is high noon. And so that's how, again, I'm finding what's unique for me. I'm putting it with what the purpose is that I believe God called me to do. And guess what? It's it's working itself out. Is it perfect? No. But as we evolve, like you said, God, he meets us at every step. See, I may have reached step 10 for my Thursday night. He said, okay, now move to Saturday. But I'm back at step 1 for Saturday. You see what I'm saying? So every time you go, he's taking you through another process. And so who knows how many levels this one is, but I have to trust and be confident in who he called me to be. If y'all want to talk to me, I call Celeste gave me this. Shout out to my girl, my friend, sister in Christ, Dr. Celeste Owens, who does a 40-day surrender fast. And I've done, a matter of fact, tomorrow is day 40. And I had her on last year, and she said, I see you as a purpose activator. I said, I'm taking that. Can I have that? And so I had her record it. So she said yes, so I took it. I'd like to just shake people into what God called them to be. Come on now, wake up. Wake up. You are here. You are here. I'm working on something. I'm gonna give it to y'all. My brother said it, and I coined it, and I'm working on it. You are obligated to live. You're obligated to live. And you're obligated not just to live, but to live on purpose, because we're called to do it. You're obligated. And I'm daring you tonight to step out and go ahead and plant the seed. Nothing can grow unless the seed is planted. Plant your seed, sister. Plant your seed, brothers, and watch the Lord water it and it grow. Come on, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Come on now. Come on now. Come on. He's going to be the revealer. He will be the revealer. Huh? And he's going to make it evident in your life. Just go ahead, Cherie, take over. Y'all mute me.
Yeah, y'all didn't know y'all was gonna get a sermon. Listen, with Tiffany, like I said, when Tiffany speaks, you are inspired. You can't, anyone who has watched today, who has been watching us, I hope you are inspired to live on purpose. I hope you know that you are obligated to live. And I'm gonna throw my part in there. You're obligated to thrive, not just survive.
Yes.
Right? And I see Stacy is on. She says she's always inspired by you. Yes. But Brandy, I wanted you, because Brandy and I were having a conversation. You were saying this something with this season right now, and in this next week or so, there's I'm still learning more about moon and the alignment and all this stuff. But you were saying something that I thought was really interesting that fit in with this conversation. So did you want to share it, Brandy?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, I agree, Tiffany, like, this is, like, it's funny because, we're supposed to be like, oh, we're going to have a fireside chat and talk with Tiffany. It's just like, we're just going to let this flow, because obviously it's just coming out. What to say? I just like listening. It's just, this is great. Got so many notes and takeaways from this, so yes. But, I mean, after listening to Tiffany, like, how can you not feel inspired to be like, let me figure out, like, sit down and figure out what am I going to do next? And especially like this season, like Cherie was saying, there's a solar eclipse that's happening right now, and in this pocket between 10:25 and 11:08, it's actually like a really strong manifestation energy. So it's the time that is actually really good to get clear, because when we're getting clear right now, it's actually going to accelerate. If we're clear, we know what our purpose is, so we know what we're going to do. It accelerates the forward movement of those things. So taking the next 2 weeks, especially as we go into harvest season, pretty much, we're talking about planting. We're either pulling up stuff that we planted last season, or we're preparing to put things into the ground that we're going to pull up next season, that literally and figuratively, like right now is the time. So if you do have some feeling, if there's something that's been in you, if there's something that you've been questioning, you're not really sure, like, should I move forward? Even if it's just sitting down and getting clear, like just taking some time to write, taking some time to be quiet, taking some time to see those things, like Tiffany was saying, that like that lights a fire into you, those things that just feel good to you, because it don't matter what you do for other people. If you also aren't getting anything out of it, it's probably not the thing that you're supposed to do. Because if you were put here for the purpose has to honor, I believe, the law of reciprocity. So we all have to benefit from like what we put out. We also should be able to feed ourselves from that as well. So right now, between now and 11/8, I mean, granted, you could do this anytime, right? I'm not saying like, if you don't do it now, it's never going to happen. What I'm saying is that we just got inspired to act, right? We just got some motivation, and the season is prime for us to kind of get into motion.
I love it. I love it. We just had a study this morning talking about restoring. And he said, I'm going to restore to you everything that the palmer worm, the cankerworm, everything that was stolen. So this is the season to act, because he said, I'm restoring wasted dreams. I'm restoring these things to you that you let go of, the things that you omitted. And come on, Cherie, you better stop. I love that. I love that. I love that. It's time to act. It's time to act. I'm trying to live my life with no regrets. That's my thing. I'm doing my best to try to live it with no regrets. Stop the shoulda, and you probably saw that on the website. When the first thing I said, it had to be something about them shoulda, woulda, couldas. Get out of the shoulda, woulda, couldas. And go ahead and start doing, acting, moving. And it's nothing like it when you can take away what you should have done, you could have done, and you would have done. Stop it. Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and act. Go ahead. I love that, Brandy. I love that.
Yeah, and like you summed it up perfectly with your saying, like, you're obligated to live. Like, you understand? It's like, why else are we here? Right? It's like making so.
I was like, that's it. That's it. You're obligated to live. What are you doing? Come on, somebody.
Yeah.
Come on, somebody. I love it. Thank y'all so much for having me.
Thank you.
This was absolutely amazing.
Agreed.
This was good. And it's just so much. You gave us so much to really think on and meditate on. I love it. I think you said stop living with the shoulda, woulda, couldas. What scares people is the failure, right?
That's right.
I should have did this, or I would have done it, but I would have done it, but I was afraid it wasn't going to work out.
Right.
And some people don't realize that even if you fail, that's one step closer to your success, right? Sometimes you don't know, like all the inventions that are made. Everything that we use now is the success, the final product of a whole lot of failed attempts prior to getting to where it is now.
That's
and so
right.
we shouldn't be afraid of what could happen, how it might not work. Right. Those is just getting you one step closer to your purpose. So you tried this out, it didn't feel right, it didn't work.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, a whole lot of people who went to college started out with one major and graduated with another, right? Because you figured out, that's not what I really wanted to do.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, even a plant. I'm planting, Brandy. I love plants. I've come to embrace plants. And there was one plant, it's dead. It was dead. And I was determined to grow that plant. And Taylor, my daughter, got me into just enjoying plants. And she came the other day, and the plant now has like maybe 5 leaves on it. And she's like, is that a new plant? I'm like, no, I replanted. I took, you know what I mean? I dug the plant out, put it in the new pot, gave it a new look, and believed that it was going to grow. And I took care of it. That's where we are. You're saying the act. We're in this season. You got to move. Come on, he's restoring. And so, but you have to do something, right? It's no sense in praying when you are obligated to do something. It's not going to happen. You still have to do something, right? Come on, let's do it. Amen.
Yes, and I just want to, as we say now, I guess the new trending thing is give people their flowers. So there's a lot of nice comments that we have coming into the into the chat. So I just want to share. We got Mike really gives us agreed heart.
Hey,
We have like just some takeaways. Life is simple. Someone, I'm always inspired by you, Coach Tiff.
That's
So
my girl.
obviously you are living in purpose, because whatever you're doing when you show up is getting people activated. Terrence says, yes, this was beautiful. Somebody shouted out the restoring. I needed to hear that. Inspiration, good stuff. So yeah, I just wanted to share that, sometimes we plant things, or we do things because it's our purpose, and we don't always get that immediate feedback that like what we're doing actually is like resonating. So I wanted to be able to share that with you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. This was good. I've enjoyed both of you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think, and that's probably a good place to end, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brandy.
The one thing I was going to say, like, I mean, if you enjoyed this, guys, on January the 19th, we're actually going to do a full vibe experience, and hopefully we can get Coach Tiffany to come back and dig in again. So just stay tuned for more details about the vibe experience. Like we said, we wanted to kind of bring it into a different format tonight. Our spirit was calling, we listened, and I'm happy that we kind of ran with this open forum format versus our closed one that we normally do.
Yeah. Well, I want to end. Y'all got a cool mug with you, coffee.
Not anywhere near as cool as you guys, but I got some color.
I love your mug because I love the color. My favorite color is green. And so somebody get this picture for us and send it to me, because I always with a mug. Yes. I'm going to make sure I send you a mug, Brandy. So you got to make sure I send you a mug. Love y'all. Thank y'all so much. Even entertaining
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Tiffany. And guys, if you want to follow Tiffany, you can go on her website, tiffanydixon.com. You can book a session with her if you want her to be your purpose coach. She does that. You can go on tiffanydixon.com. For that, you can follow her on Facebook and on Instagram. She is Tiffany Dixon, Purpose Coach. Is there any other way they can get connected with you, Tiffany?
I think that's it for now. I'm working on that. I told you I made some phone calls.
See, so there's some other stuff coming, but those are the 3 ways in which you can get in contact with Tiffany Dixon. If you need to get your life, call her. And she's going to help you get it all the way together. I promise you.
I love groups too. I love women groups, just groups as well. So, yep, I like doing that too. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, I love it. I love doing that.
Okay, now my brain is popping. All right. Got some group sessions with the coach. All right. Well, Tiffany, thank you so much for joining us. We so appreciate you making this time for us.
Thank you, ladies. All
right. You.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Yeah, that was wonderful. I love it. And so, like Brandy said, we will be back with you guys in January for a vibe session. We've been doing it. Some of you have joined us before. We had last November, we did our no holiday mix. I can't believe that was a year ago.
I know it's not.
It's been a year. The vibe is always cool. We do stuff on a virtual platform that's not Zoom, so we can really have time. It's almost like the metaverse kind of situation where we get to really network. So that's going to be in January. We may do something before that, a little something in preparation for the holiday. But we're excited. We are working. We made a decision that we're gonna actually do something in person next spring. So we're gonna do
Yes,
a live event,
April
like live in the flesh.
2023 in person, not virtual, no computers between us.
Right.
Yeah.
And hopefully though, so y'all, Brandy and I have never met in person. I met her on a webinar. We became friends, have started collaborating, doing stuff together. So we probably will have met at least one time before the live in the spring. But I'm excited because it'll be our first in-person
In
event
person.
together. I'm excited about that.
Yeah,
I'm
me too. It's
excited.
so funny. It's kind of cool. Like it is kind of cool that we can, like especially talking about like finding your people, support you to find your
Finding a
purpose. Like
tribe.
sometimes it's not
Mm-hmm.
your immediate, it's not like the people that are immediately around you, right? So it's kind of cool that
That's true.
technology, even though, sometimes it can we question like its purposes or whatever, it really helps us to find people close and far. And the funny thing is that we're
Yep.
not that far away. We live in the same freaking state, but we live in
Right.
the same state, but we just haven't
Right.
met each
But it was
other in
like
life yet.
on this digital platform that we found each other, right? And started collaborating. And I think that's also part of in terms of like one final thing about this planting your purpose, you know, there's some aspects of what Brandy does and what I do that's similar, but really not. But we figure like, wait, we can collaborate. There's something in what we're doing individually. We felt like there was something great we could do together. And I think people can't be afraid of that either. Is that,
Mhm.
you don't have to feel like someone's gonna steal your shine if you work with somebody, right? You can't be threatened by somebody else's bright star. Like y'all can just shine brighter together. So I
Yeah.
think that's something to consider as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
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 So I think that's it. We good. I think this was a great time. Everyone, thank you for joining us. I see some of my people out there, Denise, Stacy, I see y'all. Thank you for coming on. We'll share this on all of our platforms. I know we weren't able to share it everywhere live, but we will post it on all of our different platforms so you guys can catch the replay and share it with other people. You have anything you want to say in closing, Brandy?
No, like you say, just thanks. Thanks for joining us and coming through and feeling the vibe. Make sure that you maximize this season and plant your purpose. Until next
Yes.
time.
Keep thriving, people. I love it. Keep
Yes.
thriving, keep
Take
vibing.
care.
Later.
Yes. Bye.